If you're already walking regularly, good, genuinely. You're ahead of most people your age, and that matters. But for most people over 60 who already walk, the way they're doing it is leaving most of the benefit on the table. 5 small adjustments to when you walk, how fast, how you break it up, none of which require more time or any equipment, can change the health outcomes dramatically. The latest research shows they can extend your independence by years, actual years. So here's what we're going to cover. First, the science of why these particular changes matter so much. Because once you understand what's at stake, the habits make complete sense. Then all 5, one by one, with exactly what to do and why. And at the end, a simple way to start this week without overhauling anything. Let's get into it. Change number 1. Walk just a little bit faster than feels comfortable. Not fast, not power walking, just a notch above your natural cruise speed. Researchers at the University of Chicago tested this with older adults who were frail or on the edge of becoming frail. Not a group you'd normally push to increase intensity. Walking just 14 steps per minute faster than their usual pace led to meaningful improvements in physical function. People who couldn't walk to the end of the grocery store without needing to sit down were walking further, steadier, with more in reserve. 14 steps per minute, that's the difference between strolling and walking with a little purpose. You don't need a fitness tracker to feel it. It's the pace where you're aware you're moving, where your breathing picks up just slightly and your arms start to swing a little more. Not hard, just engaged. Try it this week. Whatever your normal walking route is, pick one stretch, a single block, one lap of the park, and nudge the pace up. Just that, one stretch, slightly faster, consistently. Here's why that small change matters so much. 9 long-term studies were pooled together. 34,485 older adults followed for up to 21 years. And what the researchers found stopped a lot of doctors in their tracks. Your usual walking speed predicts how long you'll live, and how independently you'll live, as accurately as a full medical workup. Think about what that means. Age, smoking history, blood pressure, body weight, chronic disease, all of it combined barely improved on what a doctor could predict by simply timing you walking across a 20-foot hallway at your normal pace. Walking speed below a certain threshold, roughly the pace where you're moving but not really going anywhere, was associated with 10-year functional decline. Meaning the people walking slowly today were the ones losing independence a decade from now. Not because of one specific health event, because slow walking is itself a signal that multiple systems, cardiovascular, muscular, neurological, are already underperforming. It shows up in the walk before it shows up anywhere else. And the relationship runs the other direction too. People who maintained or improved their walking pace over time kept their independence longer. Not by years, in some abstract statistical sense, by years of being the one who still drives, who still travels, who still shows up to things. So when I say that, walking just a little faster matters, this is why. It's not about the calories. It's about what pace signals, about everything else that's happening in your body, and what changing it can do. Change number 2, walk after meals. Not instead of your regular walk, in addition to it. This one is small enough that it almost doesn't feel like exercise. And that's exactly the point. Researchers compared 2 groups of older adults at risk for blood sugar problems. One group did a single 45-minute walk once a day. The other group took 3 short 15-minute walks, one after each meal. Same total time, same moderate pace. And the 3 short walks won, significantly better blood sugar control over 24 hours. The after-dinner walk, in particular, flattened out the glucose spike that typically builds through the evening and lingers into the night. Why does that matter for independence? Because uncontrolled blood sugar, even at the pre-diabetes level, which millions of people over 60 have without knowing it, quietly damages nerves, weakens circulation in the legs and feet, and blurs vision. All 3 of which directly affect your ability to move confidently and safely. It's not a dramatic event. It's a slow erosion that shows up years later as instability, numbness, falls. 15 minutes after dinner, that's the one to start with. The research says it has the greatest effect on your full 24-hour blood sugar curve. You don't need to go far. Around the block, down the street, and back. The timing is what activates the benefit, not the distance. Change number 3, stop aiming for 10,000 steps. I know that number is everywhere. Fitness trackers, health articles, your doctor's waiting room, 10,000 steps. And if you're hitting it, great. Keep going. But for most people over 60, that target is doing more harm than good. Not because it's too hard, because it's discouraging enough that people who can't reach it give up and do significantly less than they otherwise would. The actual research tells a different story. A major systematic review published in The Lancet in 2025, 57 studies, tens of thousands of people, found that meaningful risk reductions across all major health outcomes started at around 7,000 steps a day. Cardiovascular disease, cancer, mortality, all of it improved well before the 10,000 mark. The benefits continue above that, but the curve flattens considerably. You get the large majority of the gain at 7,000. That's about 60 to 70 minutes of walking spread through a normal day. Not 90 minutes, not 2 hours. An achievable target that people actually hit and then often exceed, because they're not demoralized by a number that feels out of reach. 7,000 steps. Write that down and replace 10,000 in your head. Independence isn't something most people lose all at once. That's the part nobody tells you. It doesn't happen with a single diagnosis or a single event. It happens gradually, in the gap between what you can do today and what you stop doing tomorrow. The person who stops walking to the mailbox because their knee aches, who stops going to the farmer's market because the parking lot feels unsteady, who eventually stops going to their granddaughter's school play because standing for an hour feels like too much to manage. That gap, from walking easily to not walking easily, opens slowly. And the research is clear that it is not inevitable. The pace you walk at, the consistency of when you walk, whether you're keeping your body calibrated, these are active inputs. You are making this outcome or not making it with choices that feel small and daily and easy to postpone. I think about the people who come in and say they wish they'd known this 10 years ago. Not because 10 years ago would have been miraculous, because 10 years of small, consistent walking changes compounds. The version of themselves that maintained a slightly brisker daily walk, that got up after dinner, that didn't get discouraged by an arbitrary step count, that version of themselves is still gardening on a Saturday morning, still making the trip to see family, still in their own home, on their own schedule, making their own choices. That is what we're actually talking about, not a fitness goal, the practical daily experience of being independent. Change number 4, break your walking into shorter chunks throughout the day. Most people think of walking as a block of time. You go out, you walk your route, you come back, done for the day. And that's fine. But the research on how the body actually responds to movement suggests that spreading it out, 3 or 4 shorter walks instead of one longer one, produces better outcomes for the specific things that matter most to older adults. We already saw this with blood sugar, but it goes beyond that. Short, frequent bouts of walking keep the body systems online throughout the day rather than stressing them once and then going quiet for hours. Your muscles stay activated, your circulation keeps moving, your joints stay lubricated, and your nervous system keeps making the tiny, constant balance adjustments that keep you steady on your feet. Adjustments that go quiet the moment you sit down for 3 hours. A single 40-minute walk gives you 1 burst of all that. 4 10-minute walks give you 4. This is especially true if you're spending a lot of time sitting, which most people over 60 are, not because they're lazy, but because the natural rhythms of the day have more sitting built in than they used to. Television, reading, screens, meals, long unbroken stretches of sitting essentially hit pause on everything walking activates. Breaking those stretches up, even briefly, keeps things running. The practical version is simpler than it sounds. Walk after breakfast, not just after dinner. Walk to wherever you're going instead of driving when it's reasonable. Walk while you're on the phone. The total step count doesn't have to change at all. The distribution does. Change number 5, walk with someone, at least sometimes. This one isn't in most walking guides, and it probably should be. There's a meaningful body of research connecting social engagement to physical function in older adults. Not in a vague, feel-good way, in a measurable, biological way. Social interaction reduces chronic stress hormones, maintains cognitive engagement, and increases the likelihood that you'll actually show up and keep the habit going. A walking partner, a neighbor, a friend you meet twice a week, these aren't just nice-to-haves. They're what keeps you actually showing up. And showing up is everything, because the benefits of walking only compound if the walking actually happens. Walking while you're having a real conversation is also dual-task training without trying. Your brain is managing coordination and social processing simultaneously. The same combination researchers track when they want to predict fall risk and cognitive sharpness in older adults. It's exercise for your body and your brain at the same time, and you don't have to think of it as either. I've seen this play out so many times it's almost predictable. Someone who walks alone, reliably, for years. Then something interrupts the routine. A health scare, a bad winter, a family situation, and the walking just stops. And it's hard to restart alone. But the person who has a standing Wednesday walk with a neighbor has a completely different experience of that same disruption. The social commitment pulls them back. The habit survives. If you don't have a natural walking partner right now, a community center, a local walking group, even a conversation you schedule around a walk, all of it counts. The social layer is what makes the habit durable, and durable is what produces the years-long outcomes we've been talking about. 5 changes, all of them small. None of them require a gym, a program, or a significant block of time you don't have. Pick one. This week, just one. The one that landed closest to home when you heard it. If this was useful, subscribe, and leave a comment telling me which of the 5 you're starting with. I'll see you in the next one.